in Chicago, close by Chicago Stadium, for a much-anticipated matchup today. Welcome, everyone, to Chicago. This is Kevin Harlan along with me, Clark Kellogg. We've got David Aldridge joining us from the sidelines as we get set to watch the Atlanta Hawks go up against the Chicago Bulls. Clark, this should be a beauty.
You know, each of these teams, Kevin, has a guy who is in the running for the league lead in scoring. I'm, of course, talking about two guys that don't need introduction, Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins. Going to be a lot of fun watching these guys try to one-up each other offensively.
And Clark, beyond just Jordan and Wilkins, plenty of other talented scorers on each of these teams as well.
Kevin, you make a very good point. I mean, these are two impressive high-octane lineups, which I think could result in this score really getting run up in a hurry.
This should be one to remember. And out there for Atlanta, Spud Webb at the point with Doc Rivers at the 2. At the forward positions, Dominique Wilkins and Moses Malone. John Koncak will be at center. And starting things off for the Bulls, it's John Paxson at point guard with Michael Jordan also at the guard. Then Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant at the 3 and 4. The veteran, Bill Cartwright, in the middle.
Expectations are high for Jordan and Wilkins in this one. They're both exceptional scoring threats, and I know their teams are expecting each of them to be the difference makers out there as they try to get the W.
Rivers dishes the Webb. Here's Malone.
Really like how active Grant is on defense. I mean, he takes a ton of pride in making things hard for his opponent.
And here are the Bulls now. You know, often, Clark, it's the team's respective leader who sets the tone for their whole squad.
You are correct, partner. So if Jordan or Wilkins can manage to get off to a hot start, that could spread to the other guys and get their whole team rolling early.
That's a good point. Here's Wilkins after the made shot from Michael Jordan. The shot by Wilkins, no good. You know, Clark, in some ways, this game could come down to either Jordan's or Wilkins. And who scores the most? Outperforming the other could seal the game for their team.
And, Kevin, that's exactly what we'll be keeping a close eye on. Which one is leading in the point column? Because I agree the winner of that duel very well could decide this thing.
Oh, what a duel it's going to be. The two scoring leaders facing off. But to dig deeper, let's go to a guy who can dig as deep as any, David Aldridge. D.A.
Thanks, guys. We know that Dominique and Jordan scoring will probably be the big story of the night. But there's a lot more to these guys' games that could affect the outcome. With Wilkins, we've seen a new focus from him on improving his rebounding. And as always, Jordan's defense can be just as impactful as his offense. Guys, back to you.
You know, David, that's an interesting point, and I think you're right. It's not just, Clark, about scoring tonight. It's got to be a multifaceted game. Wouldn't you agree?
I certainly would, Kevin. Limiting your opponent's touches and disrupting their shot attempts and their offensive flow, I think could be the real name of the game in this one. You just can't get it done with offense alone.
I know Jordan takes pride in his defense. We'll see if that's true tonight.
Yep, we'll keep an eye on that.
The number one objective, Clark, of this Bulls defense has to be limiting Dominique Wilkins' looks. They've got to contain that incredible scoring of his.
Kevin, you're all over it. Right on point. I mean, if Chicago can't disrupt his usual scoring, then they're in for a long night and some real trouble.
That was the 2K drive, as that move deserved another look. Webb against Paxson. Webb the pass to Malone. And slammed in by Malone. Something that could be a difference maker in this one is Moses Malone's dominance on the glass.
I agree. I mean, Chicago is going to have to fight extremely hard to beat Malone to rebounds. He's relentless in pursuing them, especially offensive boards. But limiting the Hawks' second chance points, I think, is essential for this Bulls team.
Good observation. Goes back up. Malone. Tough sequence there. They just couldn't get it to fall. Chicago leading by 4. Left side, Jordan. Paxson outside. Good, and it's Jordan picking up the assist.
Not satisfied with this lead. That's obvious because they are trying to blow this thing wide open.
And we're just over 3.5 minutes into the first quarter. The feed to Malone. Shoots over Grant. And it's Malone again missing. Pippen, the pass to Paxson. Kicks to Grant. Pippen dishes to Grant. And 3 from Jordan. Another 3 for Chicago.
Really smooth shot that time from MJ beyond the arc. Hawks can't afford to let him get it going from the three-point line.
Credit to these Hawks, Clark, for having a constant postseason presence these last few seasons.
3 straight second-round appearances, and then last year a tough loss in the first round. But I say don't let that fool you. These Hawks are a very competitive team.
They really are. Here's what Chicago's going with right now. Purdue, he's checked in for Cartwright. King comes in for Grant. And Armstrong subbed in for John Paxson. And here's Smith to the middle. It's tipped. Stolen by Pippen. Purdue, the pass to Jordan. 1:19 left in the first quarter of the game. From the arc. Rebound by the Hawks. Now here is Smith. They get a hand on it. Here's Carr. Persistence pays off as they finally hit a shot.
Boy, that time Carr staying aggressive, fights for the rebound, and then also fights to get the shot off.
Some fresh competition, Clark, for the Bulls and Hawks in the league this year, with 2 expansion teams coming to the NBA in Orlando and Minnesota.
Exactly, Kevin. I mean, these teams are focused on the game at hand. That's pretty obvious, but this is a very interesting time for the NBA. A lot of new talent and a new landscape.
A lot of growing indeed. Wilkins and Jordan, a couple of talented one-on-one players who are both going to be seeking mismatches in this one.
And, you know, Kevin, if you're on either of these teams, you've got to be ready to come at Jordan and Wilkins defensively. Don't let them dictate things. Low-effort defense, not going to get it done because they'll take advantage of that fully.
Oof, count it.
Boy, they didn't waste any time, did they? They got going right away.
The Hawks trail by 13. And here we go. Fast break. Jordan's got it. And the shot goes down. Jordan's got 26.
You know, Jordan doesn't need any help there. I mean, his athleticism is really on another level.
To stop the run, it's slammed in by Wilkins. Dominique raising the intensity with that one. This matchup with the Bulls brings out his absolute best. And so it's Chicago, looking at a 13-point lead heading into the next quarter. They've kept the tempo quick and the defense on its heels, and it's gotten them up big. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to Chicago as the second quarter gets underway. It's been an exciting game so far between the hometown Chicago Bulls and the visiting Atlanta Hawks. And here's Jordan. He'll bring it up for the Chicago Bulls.
For the Bulls, they've got a new coach at the helm this season. With Phil Jackson, this is his first stint as a head coach here in the NBA.
Grant is out there with Cartwright. That's John Paxson. Then it's Jordan. And it's Pippen in at the 3 spot. That's the group for the Chicago Bulls to start the second quarter. Here's Jordan. Dominique Wilkins making his last shot there for the 3. And Jordan good for 3. He has 29. Jackson, of course, a former player, a former assistant under Doug Collins in Chicago. And Clark, I hear he's got some interesting ideas when it comes to on-court strategy.
Well, Kevin, you know, he's certainly got some good pieces to test those ideas out with. There's no denying that. But what I think matters most is that the guys seem to relate to him and like him. chemistry between players and head coaches is critical.
Well, you know, you played a long time, and you know how important that connection can be.
That's a very key deal.
You know, looking back at the opening quarter, Clark, Jordan managed to stay ahead of Wilkins in points scored.
Yeah, really good start for him, Kevin, in that regard, but can he keep doing that the entire game?
Right, and it's Malone missing. Bulls leading by 14. Oh, Jordan taking flight. Michael Jordan's presence felt by every fan in attendance.
How do you expand the lead? Increase it. It takes good play on both ends.
And now the first timeout called here for the Hawks. Michael Jordan really making a difference here.
And he's getting to the rack all game, and if they can't do a better job of keeping him out of the paint, they're in for a long night.
Livingston's checked in for the Hawks. And we're a little over a minute and a half into the second quarter of action. Here's Webb. Here's Malone. And a lot of contact on that one, so he'll shoot two here.
You know, he's such a load to deal with inside because Malone's intensity and relentlessness down there makes defenses almost have to foul.
Free throw drops for Malone.
The Hawks and the Bulls, when you look at the measurables of teams and players, pretty standard for the league, with explosively athletic backcourts and then quite a bit of size down low, too.
Clark, we were talking about size. Both of these teams start a 7-footer at center.
Yeah, you know, Koncak and Cartwright are very imposing at that position, Kevin, and then you get Grant and Malone are paired evenly at 6'10", so, hey, there's no way this game is not going to be physical in the paint.
It'll be a battle for sure. And here is Wilkins following the three-pointer by Michael Jordan. And the basket by Malone. Malone's got 12 in the game.
Malone owns the paint area of the floor. Nobody coming in there messing with him.
Jordan with the bucket.
Looking to stretch this lead out even further, going right after his shot.
So far, Michael Jordan has been getting just about, Clark, everything he wants on the offensive end.
And that's not unexpected, but, you know, that doesn't bode well for the Hawks as Wilkins has been unable to answer Jordan with shots of his own, which I think says a lot about the job the Chicago defense is doing.
I agree.
Well, you got to appreciate how consistent these Atlanta Hawks have been. I mean, season to season, even while going through some roster shakeups, they've been steady.
Let's go to David Aldridge, who has some inside info on the Chicago Bulls.
Hey, Kevin, when you talk to the coaching staff and you say, what's the key to success against the Hawks, they have a one-word answer. Michael. They expect big numbers from Jordan, probably exceeding his average of 35 points from last season. Back to you, Kevin.
Well, that's good stuff there, David. Sometimes, Clark, the answer is that simple, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have to complicate it, especially when you're talking about Jordan, because he does make it really simple. Although he's not a one-man show, his whole team is going to have to still step up.
And they take pride in that, don't they? Helping this very special talent do what they've got to do.
Yeah, they're pros, and they get their checks twice a month, too.
And Grant sends it back.
One of the better defenders in this game. Grant teeing off on that one.
And Jordan slams it home. With the Hawks here in his building, you can see the way Michael Jordan is approaching every possession, looking to make an impact. Clark, as we know, last year the Hawks were able to hit 50 wins for the fourth consecutive season.
And, Kevin, I think that speaks to, obviously, the product on the floor, but the quality of their organization, too. I mean, these are players and coaches who just know how to win games.
Kings check in for Chicago. Armstrong comes in for John Paxson. And a switch here also for Atlanta. Tony, he's checked in for Webb. And the Hawks making a change here. Carr's checked in. Tony against Armstrong.
First half, 2 minutes.
Here's Tony. Rivers gets a wide open look. The putback. It's good on the putback.
Oh, his length, his persistence, his size. Moses was custom made to own the glass. Great offensive play right there.
Jordan is doubled. And we got to take a second look to admire that outstanding play.
They're determined to add to the lead, not with more offense, but with big-time defense.
1:41 left to play in the first half. The shot's good from Jordan.
Zero hesitation. Jordan showing complete confidence in his shooting ability.
Armstrong against Tony. Pass to Wilkins. Driving the lane over Jordan. Wilkins can't get it to go. And so Jordan will bring it up for Chicago. And it's Rivers with the rebound.
Well, he's much better than that. Really no excuse for missing that lay-in.
And the foul called on Michael Jordan.